Hello and welcome back. Earlier I shared a little recycled gift bag that would be perfect for Easter, and today I'm going to show you how to decorate it with a handmade tag. This is such a fun project and I actually made it with some of our homeschool friends. They each got to choose from a selection of beautiful pattern papers like these, but you can use absolutely whatever you have in your stash. For this demo, I've chosen a blush pink spotted paper. It's 7 by 14 centimeters. And you'll also need a piece of white. This one is 9 by 6 centimeters. I have used the Stitched So Sweetly dies to create this scalloped effect around my white rectangle, but you absolutely can just use a plain one and still have a beautiful card at the end. I'm stamping this super sweet bunny from the Welcome Easter stamp set. This one's retired now, and when my daughter wanted to do this class, I realized I didn't have any cute Easter images in my collection. Thankfully, my friend Lisa came to the rescue and lent us this beautiful set, so thank you so much, Lisa. I'm lining up the stamp on a clear block using the grid lines to help me keep it nice and straight. Then I'm inking it up with soft suede, which is a gorgeous chocolatey brown, and stamping it right in the center of my cardstock rectangle. Now that that's done, it's time for a little colouring. I'm using Stampin' Up! Watercolour pencils from my collection. This one's Early Espresso for the brown, and I've got a Blushing Bride for some soft pink details. I'm colouring with very light pressure to start with, building up the brown in circular strokes around the edges of the bunny, and then I'm going back in to deepen areas where I want a little bit more contrast. Next, I'm using a blender pen to smooth out the pencil. I always double check that the tip is clean before I begin. There's nothing worse than accidentally blending an old colour you didn't mean to. The pen I used here was a little older and a bit dry initially, so I switched it to a newer one for a better result. For the pink, I added detail to the ears, feet and nose, pressing it a little harder on the nose to deepen that colour. Then I picked up a little more pink straight from the pencil tip using the blender pen, and I added a soft blush to the little cheeks of the bunny. To ground the image, I'm using Stampin' Blends in Soft Seafoam. I start with the light marker to create a soft base. Then add the darker tone right beneath the bunny where the shadow would naturally fall. After that, I go back in with the light marker to blend everything together. Once it dries, you get this lovely seamless shadow effect. Next, I stamped this little flower spray from the same Welcome Easter set in So Saffron Yellow, and coloured it using ink picked up from the inside of the ink pad lid with a clean blender pen. To achieve this effect, you just have to close the ink pad, give it a squeeze, and some of the ink will transfer to the lid that you can use as a palette. Next, I glue the stamped bunny panel onto the banner tag. First, I cut the banner. Taking the blush patterned paper from earlier, I put a little snip in the bottom center, about 1 centimeter up from the bottom edge, and then I cut in from each corner to that center point. Next, I glue the stamped bunny panel onto the left-hand side of the banner tag, letting about 1 centimeter overhang out on the right. Then, we'll set that aside while we work on the sentiment. For the sentiment, I'm using a stamp from the Itty Bitty Greetings set. These are lovely small sentiments that work really well on tags like this. I've stamped Easter blessings in soft suede onto a scrap of So Saffron Yellow cardstock. I originally punched it with one of my favourite label punches. But then I decided to trim off both the arrow ends with scissors to make it a simple flat rectangle. Now we're going to add a little leafy detail underneath. I found this delicate die cut leaf from an older set of dies. It's called the Forever Flourishing dies. It's a long time favourite of mine. I cut it with a scrap of Pear Pizzazz cardstock and glued it to the tag before layering the sentiment on top, just like this. And now our tag's done. It's simple, sweet, and just perfect for dressing up our Easter bag. To finish off, I'm filling the bag with some shredded paper strips for padding, and then I've added a little bag of chocolate Easter eggs. These are Darrell speckled eggs, but you could use any kind of treat. Pop them in, I've popped them in a small cellophane bag, but if you had something, say Cadbury eggs that were already in foil, you wouldn't need to worry about that step. Tie it up, and you've got a gorgeous handmade tag. I have punched holes into the top of the bag and the tag and used a piece of twine to just bring it all together. And that's it. Super cute Easter gift bag that we made during our Easter class last month. If you'd like to see how the recycled bag itself was made, head over to my channel and check out that video. And here's a look at some of the other variations we made using the same stamp set. Thanks so much for watching.